Hello, and welcome to the 8th episode of Chain World. Chain World is a series in which we play Dungeon World with a whole bunch of guest players who come on for one episode and they play, and then they come on for the next episode and they run the game. So the idea is to show all the awesome things you can do with Dungeon World, all the different ways you can play it, all the little tricks and tips you can use, and the different methods you can bring in to make the game go different directions in interesting ways. So right off the bat, I'm actually going to just quickly say our game generally runs a little bit more to the risque side, so keep in mind that this event probably would be rated R. There's probably going to be cursing, there's probably going to be violence, perhaps even what you might call ultra-violence, and definitely innuendo, and definitely... yeah, stuff happens. So if you're aware of the comic book Rat Queens, that's a very strong guideline for us. So that's basically what you can be expected from this broadcast. And also to call it out, this event will conform to the Indie Plus community standards. If you'd like to know more about what those are, please go to indieplus.org. So with that out of the way, I'm going to ask everybody to introduce themselves. Are you back, Andrea?
I'm back.
Go for it, Andrea.
I play the Paladin of Basilides, Etheldrita de Graves. She has had a rough couple of sessions. She's kind of no longer in the good graces of her god, whom she had formerly met. So she's kind of lost right now, but she'll come back, I'm sure.
I'm so sure. Absolutely.
So sure.
Jen?
I'm Jen. I'm playing Andromeda the Star Mage, and yeah, like last session was super fun. I got a necklace with a meteorite in it when I robbed a house on my first date with this guy, and then we had an orgy with the cloud sprites. So like, I'm doing awesome. That was a great session for me.
That was not so much innuendo. That really just skipped the innuendo and went straight to the orgy.
Well, I mean, that was the best part.
Another tagline for Chain World: skip the innuendo, straight to the orgy. Misha.
Hi, I'm Misha. I play Aliana the Bard. She didn't have quite the cool, as cool of an experience at the orgy. Got a little weird. Yeah, so there's that.
That's all that needs to be said. It got a little weird. Wide eyes. Sarah.
I'm Sarah. I'm playing Sha-Sheena the Barbarian. Last time, instead of getting to eat someone's face, instead I had a group of admirers who think of me as their goddess, which I'm really digging. And I, too, had a little bit too much of a intimate encounter at the orgy and was left with feelings that I can't hit them with my sword, and I don't know what to do with that. So, yeah.
Sha-Sheena's kryptonite. The fields. Oh yes, that's right. Thank you, Jen, for calling that out. Also, Sha-Sheena is engaged to Paul the Gnome. All right, and I'm Brendan Conway. I will be running for tonight, and we have with us a guest player. And so, Willow, would you please be so kind as to introduce yourself and the character you'll be playing?
Hi, I'm Willow. And you should know who I am. I'm playing Valeria, who is a fighter. She's kind of a mercenary freebooter, and I think maybe she's done a couple jobs with some of the Owlbear Scourge in the past. She's got a big suit of armor and a big spear that contains the spirit of her ancestors. And I came up with some bonds. You want me to share those right away?
Well, I want to get into those in a second, and what we'll do is we'll go bounce back and forth. So you can do one bond, we'll bounce to Andrea, she'll do one bond. But I want to ask a couple questions. So your spear is your spear of your ancestors, and you specifically called out, I believe, it speaks to you in your mother's voice.
That's right.
Okay. I gotta ask, is this for real? Is this like actually your mother's voice, or is Valeria a little bit off a record?
It is real. It contains the spirit of my ancestors.
Oh, snap.
One day I will die in glorious battle, and my spirit will reside on the spear to guide my daughters in their martial struggles.
Very nice. Can you hear any of the voices, or just your mother's?
I can hear them all, but she's really the strongest voice.
Got it. Excellent. And can anybody else hear these voices?
No, only I can. But I can't talk. I argue with it, and I can't talk silently to it, so they'll hear me talking my spear, and be like, they might be like, "What's going on?"
Oh my goodness, he fit right in. Oh, this is awesome. So you're a wandering like sellsword, just general mercenary work, kill whatever needs killing for money, or anything in particular?
Glory in battle.
Glory in battle. That sounds familiar.
Myself to my ancestors.
So
they're very disappointed in me. I haven't proven myself yet.
Oh, interesting. So there's another component of this. You aren't just in it for the cash. You're also in it for like honoring your ancestors and like proving yourself worthy and stuff. That's cool. Okay. And so the final question I'll ask is like at the start of play, at the very start, like we're mentioning everybody's in the city, and it's the city that has no name because if you think it needs a name. So it's a city we've been in the whole time, right? It's a big city. There's a Formian hive on either side of it. There's lots of different sections to the city. There's apparently some really horny cloud sprites that live in the skies above it. What brought you to this city originally, or have you always been here?
That's a good one. I think I came here. I think Valeria's an outsider. I think my mother came here on some crusade and died, and I followed to retrieve the spear and pick up her torch.
That's awesome. Does that mean like was that a while ago, and so now you're significantly older, or are you still?
Yeah, that was maybe a couple years ago, and I've kind of. This is a good base of operations, so I've kind of settled in. But she's not really, she's not really in on everything that's going on in the city.
Not a fan. Not a huge fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is a huge fan of this horrible cesspool. So, final question then. Like, we'll get into the bonds and your individual connections to the members of the Owlbear Scourge. But in general, off the top of your head, right? The Owlbear Scourge, they're this rather rowdy bunch. They leave ruin and death behind them, and they've got a reputation for killing owlbears, even though they also are pretty easily known to never have killed an owlbear. So, like, what is your feeling on the Scourge as a whole? Like, I mean, for instance, I'd be curious, why haven't you joined them?
I think Valeria is too much of a. She might be too much of a lone wolf to work with any group for any length of time.
That makes sense. There's just no attraction. Like, you wouldn't want to join. It's not because you hate working with them. It's just in general you wouldn't join a group. Period.
No, I like them. They're good people. I've worked on. I work better with a partner. I work better with a partner, not with a whole group.
Okay. I'm curious then if in bonds it comes out which one of them you would like to leave the Owlbear Scourge to be a partner. That's interesting. All right, so let's do some bonds. Why don't you do one first, Valeria?
Okay, so I picked. I am sworn to protect graves. Usually fighters pick that for the person who thinks is weakest. I think I respect Graves the most, and maybe Graves has. I went with Graves on some quest to slay a thing and do good, so I have this very mutual respect for Graves, and we're kind of sisters in arms, and I got your back. No matter what happens, I'll be there for you.
That's absolutely awesome. And so this is public, right? This is not a secret oath. This is, you two are very close, right? You got each other's back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I'll flip to you, Graves, right away. Like, what bond do you have with Valeria?
That works out really good. I was thinking Graves as like a little squireling was actually the one who retrieved and cared for the spear after your mother had fallen on the battlefield.
What if Graves was like my mother's squire?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Little baby Graves.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There you go. Love it. Okay. So is the bond something like, I was her mother's squire, and I will always stand by her side, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I may refine it in the typing process, but basically.
That's the gist. Awesome. All right. So Valeria, what's your next bond?
Sha-Sheena owes me their life.
Oh snap.
Yeah. You are a mighty warrior, Sha-Sheena, but you needed me. I bailed you out.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What from? What did Valeria bail you out from, Sha-Sheena?
Oh, this is hard. Let's see. I had bitten off slightly more than I could chew. Not that Sha-Sheena would ever admit that. At a dockside tavern, whenever I thought I was recruiting a crew to help me conquer, and they had other ideas.
Oh, nice. I have to ask. Do you mean literally bit off more than you could chew, or like did that happen, or?
During the course of battle, yes. Body parts were lost. They're in my trophy room, or trophy pouch, as the case may be.
And so, Valeria, you bailed her out. You helped her in this situation. Why did you do it, Valeria? Why did you help Sha-Sheena?
That sounds so accusing.
Those guys were assholes. You know.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Total assholes.
Yeah. You know. 10 of them, one of her. I didn't like them very much. Wanted to make it more of a fair fight.
Oh, interesting. So this wasn't about like saving her ass. This was about like, first of all, they were jerks, and you had beef with them, and just making it a fair fight. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Wow. Birds of a feather. That's awesome. All right. So I'm gonna go to Andromeda. Andromeda, why don't you tell me what your bond is with Valeria?
Yeah, that's neat because I have no idea. I don't know. What do you think, Valeria? The only one that I thought of was like you told the moon a secret, and I talked to it, and I found out your secret. But, okay. What secret? Secret.
What's my secret?
Yeah. What secret did you tell the moon?
Oh, I told the moon that I'm in love.
Awesome.
Just that, but not with whom?
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't really know any of the NPCs or anything, so I don't really know who I'm in love with. Maybe something will come up in game, and I'll say that's the person I told the moon I'm in love with. So
yeah, that's awesome.
First to know.
Okay. That works great.
My bond from you is that I worry about your ability to survive. Because you're from space.
Nobody thinks I can survive this dangerous world.
I think that's probably right, because you are the only one.
I am the only one of us that has died, okay? And I survived that.
I don't think that works in your favor. So, Valeria, this is is this just like an observation? Is this just I don't think she's going to make it. But whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Like a curiosity for you. Nice. Okay. All right. Let's see. Aliana, what is your bond with Valeria?
I'm gonna go with I came up with one. What was it? Basically, she has blackmail. I'll let her decide with that black.
You broke up a little bit, Misha, but I think you were saying that she has blackmail material on you, Aliana?
Can you hear me at all?
I heard that.
Anybody? Okay. Yes, that's what I was saying.
So Valyria has blackmail material on Aliana. Okay. So what is the blackmail material that you have on Aliana the Bard, Valyria?
What sort of things is Aliana usually up to that...
Yeah, many things. She plays a lot of songs.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a musician. She yeah. Ooh. Um. She's been trying to make these guys look good. It's sort of been working.
She has done such things as, for instance, she totally shamed a young bard who sucked, but she like totally beat him and played better than him.
I was very nice about that. Thank you very much.
You were the nicest.
All right.
Sure.
So there's a nobleman or noble lady in the city who you wrote a particularly unflattering song about, and that song has gotten around, but nobody knows you wrote it except for me.
Nice.
Oh, that's
I like
awesome. Who was the song about? Was that the Lady Quanva? Did you write a song about how crappy the Lady Quanva was? That's Danvers' mom.
Lady Quan. Okay, Danvers' real mom, or the one that we think is Danvers' mom?
Whichever. Lady Quanva is the only name you had, so.
Sure. Yeah, I'm describing. I described her with that she's hook-nosed and cross-eyed and knock-kneed and has the wits of a horse and yeah, it's like completely scathing and cutting, but no, nobody knows I wrote it.
That's like, except for Valyria, who knows you wrote that.
Except for Valyria, who somehow saw me posting the lyrics one day or something.
There you go. That's excellent. Saw you posting the lyrics on the town message board, which is literally a board on which you hammer messages. All right. So Valyria, what is your next bond? I think you've done one with Graves, one with Sha-Sheena, and one with Andromeda. Or have you done?
I have one with everybody. So my last one is Aliana is soft, and I will make her hard like me. This is a world of tough knocks, and if you're gonna be out there chronicling tunes and telling people's brave exploits, you gotta toughen up.
Everybody keeps saying that.
Well, maybe it's true.
That's amazing. Especially because you spend all your time writing these weird bawdy ballads about stupid noble people. Come on.
And them!
And so the final one is, Sha-Sheena, what is the bond you have aimed at Valyria?
Everyone's being so nice, I feel kind of bad because I'm tempted to be all like, player versus player.
Go for it.
Because I'm terrible.
Do it.
Oh, terrible. I'm thinking you might have tripped Sha-Sheena's affection for Graves a little bit, because that is her meat shield and no one else's. And you can't have her.
Oh, that's kind of amazing.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, I will try to probably not bite off any part of your face during the game.
To be fair, I think Valyria is a hell of a tough match. I kind of want to see the face biting as you're attempting to shoot through her helm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why that's awesome. Just saying. All right. Excellent. So we have all the bonds set up, and we can dive right in. So when we left our intrepid little band, one of the major things, we had several plot threads left. We had a Ford Mum and Daughters concert coming up, right? That had not happened yet for Aliana. we finished the Cloud Sprite Orgy, so that was all set. But a big one was that the 6 gnomes who were worshipping Sha-Sheena as a goddess, their names being, according to this list, Blood Ears, Bones Fingernails, Viscera, and Paul, had basically asked Sha-Sheena to come out to deal with these strange portals in space and time that had been opening up in their lands. They mentioned that there was a sewing machine in that area that could re-sew strands of space itself. And they also mentioned that there were many orcs between here and there, which is part of why they needed help. But also, Sha-Sheena's awesome, and they figured she could get it wrapped up in a snap. I don't really understand exactly what they expected from Sha-Sheena in terms of closing portals in space-time, and when somebody brought up Andromeda, they looked at Andromeda pretty skeptically. But, whatever. Go with what works. So they would be really pushing for this, right? It's a 3-day journey, and these portals in space and time are not getting any smaller, and it may in fact be getting bigger. So they would actually be very strongly emphasizing, like, we need to go. For the sake of putting a little bit of time pressure wonkiness on it, right? Aliana, you've got your concert coming up. In theory, if you jet like crazy, you do this lickety-split, you might be able to make it back in time for that concert. But it's gonna be like skin of your teeth. You gotta push this, right? You gotta get there and get back. Right? So basically, the concert's in a week, and 3 days out, 3 days back, you could still make it. So the final part of this would be my question of, how does Valyria get involved? Would the gnomes pick up Valyria, or do you think the Owlbear Scourge would come to you, Valyria? What do you think, Valyria?
So the group's been hired to investigate some time space thing. That's what we know.
These gnomes basically came to Sha-Sheena, they worshipped her, and they asked her to come out, and she could bring her friends to deal with these portals, these holes in space and time in their lands. Again, promising that there's a magical item, a sewing machine that can literally sew together the strands of space in the midst of these portals.
Mm-hmm. I think they had independently asked Valyria to do this. So they say, oh yeah, we asked this other person too. Well, you guys should work together,
So I gotta ask then, because this makes it so horrible. Did they do the whole, oh, we worship you, great Valyria, we worship you, oh, you are a goddess, and you just were not receptive to it? Okay, that's excellent. So they are basically horrible two-timing worshippers. That's wonderful. Okay, so in other words, when they come back to get you and you're like, yeah, I'll help you out, I don't want none of this worship bullshit, and you notice them all worshipping Sha-Sheena, do you tell Sha-Sheena? Do you let her in on the fact that they came to you and did this to you first?
Nah.
Let her have it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Alright, and they did fix Graves' halberd. Yes, they are very skilled and very handy, these gnomes. So they're not all bad, just mostly bad. Alright, so what I'm going to do then, as I am also looking to invite Misha back in, somehow, what I would like is, let's just jump right to, you are headed out to go to the gnomes' lands and deal with this. So that's going to be the, where to go, make a dangerous journey move. So the way that guy works, undertake a perilous journey, there it is. Andrea, do you have the moves up? I was going to ask you if you
I printed them.
Oh, well,
if I would bother to take them out of my little binder.
Would you be so kind as to read the move? Thank you.
Make a perilous journey. Undertake a perilous journey. When you travel through hostile territory, choose one member of the party to act as trailblazer, one to scout ahead, and one to be quartermaster. The same character cannot have 2 jobs. If you don't have enough party members or choose not to assign a job, treat that job as if it had rolled a 6. Each character with a job to do roll plus whiz. On 10+, the quartermaster reduces the number of rations required by 1. On a 10 plus, the Trailblazer reduces the amount of time it takes to reach your destination. The GM will say by how much. On a 10 plus, the Scout will spot any trouble quick enough to let you get the drop on it. On a 7 to 9, each role performs their job as expected. The normal number of rations are consumed. The journey takes about as long as expected. No one gets the drop on you, but you don't get the drop on them either.
Excellent. So, unfortunately, it's I just pinged out the link to the Hangout to Misha, so she should hopefully be back in a second. But in the meantime, who's going to be the quartermaster? Who's going to be the scout? And who's going to be the trailblazer?
I can trailblaze, navigate, whatever. I mean, I'm probably not doing the other two things, so.
That's fair. Yeah, I like how you make sure it's clear that it's navigating, not trailblazing.
Right. I mean, come on.
You're not some sort of savage. So who's going to scout and who's going to be the quartermaster?
I feel like Graves should be the quartermaster. She will make sure nobody takes extra rations.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. You probably don't want Sha-Sheena in charge of anything.
Oh no, you can totally be the scout. It'll be fine. We'll get the drop on some poor helpless bunny rabbits.
I have like a 0 wisdom. What about Valeria?
If you don't want to be the scout, Valeria will step up.
And that will make me give you terrible side eye the whole time.
The rivalry begins.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
All right, so Andromeda is going to be the trailblazer, navigator. Graves is going to be the quartermaster, and Valeria is going to be the scout. Would each of you please be so kind as to roll 2d6 plus wisdom?
We're starting out this session great.
It doesn't end well for me.
Okay, so
I have a +2 wisdom, and I still missed.
So question number 1 would be to the trailblazer / navigator, where yes, you missed. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That means
Unless somebody wants to help me. Can you help on this roll?
No helping in this roll. Not in this roll. So you get an experience point though for that. Then I will go to the quartermaster. What did you get?
A 4.
Okay, so you get an experience point, as apparently you are not so careful with the rations as you had hoped. And finally, Valeria, what did you get on scouting?
I got a 10 plus.
So screw all y'all.
Yeah.
So that means you will spot any trouble quick enough to let you get the drop on it. Excellent. Okay. Yeah.
I'm so gonna miss my concert.
You are so gonna miss your concert. Oh dear. So quick question then. This group is traveling mostly together. The 6 gnomes are trying to travel behind Sha-Sheena, constantly clamoring at her heels, being like, I can carry her sour. No, I want to carry her sour. Let me carry her sour. Which is, of course, infuriating to every single one of you.
No one touches my sword.
Yeah.
Get back, little rats.
Queen. I think maybe they started calling you something like Queen Bloodfist or something. I don't know. Valeria, when you're scouting, what does that look like? Do you go to the front or?
Yeah, she kind of creeps up ahead. She's not really stealthy, but she will advance ahead of the group. Look for higher terrain. She will argue with her spear about the right way to proceed.
Like you do. That's wonderful. Okay, so like you move ahead, argue with your spear, keep an eye out in front. And Andromeda, with you navigating, how did you navigate? Were you consulting something?
I mean, I feel like I'm used to knowing where I'm going because I kind of like did that sort of for a living before I accidentally ended up here. But I'm not as good at it during the daytime. But I'm a little too proud to admit that to any of them. So yeah, I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, no, we're totally going the right way. And then we'll go for a little while and be like, oh crap. Oh no, we got to go this way now.
So you're basically trying to follow your innate sense of direction, is what it sounds like.
Basically, okay. On the wrong planet.
Yeah, that's a good plan. That's a great plan. And Graves, just to finally fill it in, you rationing, you being quartermaster, is you attempting to prevent anybody from dipping their hands in the bags excessively, is the idea, right?
That was the idea, but I think Graves just forgot the rations.
Oh, do you want to go with that? I had an even worse, but that's fine too. I think you probably brought enough, right? You brought some amount of the rations, not so, because you would have noticed if you didn't bring anything, right? You would have turned around quickly and gotten something back on the way home.
She's a little distracted too, so you know.
Distracted by what would that be?
The horribleness with Basilides.
So she's not really paying attention.
Distracted feeling in the shadow of her god.
Yeah, I buy that. All right, so excellent. So between that, right, it's a little bit into it that you realize you don't have the food that you thought you brought, Graves, which of course leaves everybody pretty cranky, and it means everybody's pretty hungry at this stage, right? Nobody's had a good meal. You've scavenged as best as you can, but the path that you've been taken on has brought you out along like wide open plains. And you've seen some creatures, like some things that you can kill and eat, but not many. And I don't think any of you are terribly well equipped for like hunting, as it were, right? Chasing after speedy creatures or shooting them with bows. Everybody is largely, I'm going to stab it. So you catch maybe a couple rabbits here and there, but enough to subsist and survive. But you're all pretty ragged as you're getting out there. Which to me means that like things that before would have been basically easy would have been like, who cares, whatever, you're badasses, you just do it. Now you're like you're hungry, you're on edge. Those things are going to be much more of an issue for you. For Andromeda, so like navigating by your sense of direction, the thing that really is messing with you is that it clearly feels wrong. Like, you know, I imagine that this is, you feel like you have an arrow to follow, and then the arrow keeps changing. It changes on you. Something is messing with you, basically. Almost intentionally, it seems, right? Like, almost purposely guiding you in odd directions, which of course means your path is already zigzagging across these plains and not really taking you in a good direction, and that only exacerbates the issue of needing more food. So, I mean, we don't normally worry too much about rations, right? Because you're in the city, you probably can scrounge up enough food if you want. If we were worried about rations, you would have none, and you would be in deep shit right now. And again, which I'm going to emphasize is like everybody is just really on edge, and things are not easy right now. Which is why it might be a little bit dangerous when Valeria, you've gone out ahead, right? You've moved ahead of some of the plains as they've come up upon hills. So the gnomes have said that their place, a city they've called Technomica, because why the hell not? Technomica is amidst the hills, and so that's where they're leading you to. And so you've gone out, like you've crested some of the hills, you're moving among some of the valleys, and you get first glance looking on the top of one of the hills as swarming over some of the hills in the distance, but headed in this direction, is this group of sort of strange vessels. They look like sleds, but large sleds that faintly glow on their ski parts and are cruising along the hills. Like they're not slowed down at all. They're just ripping along the hills, and they're being pulled by large packs of boars churning up the grass as they charge across the hills. You've seen them well before they would come in range, but they're definitely on a path that is aimed straight for your friends, or for the Owlbear Scourge, I should say, coming up behind you. So, Valyria, what do you do?
How many of them are there?
It looks like there are 3 of these sleds, and so you're looking at it from a distance, right? It's not super easy to see how many people are in each of these, but at the moment, if you had to guess, these are car-sized sleds, so think about 4 or 5 people.
All right, so yeah, I whirl about and rejoin the group and say, hey everybody, war sleds incoming. Look alive.
War sleds?
It's a sled for war. You've never seen a war sled?
That doesn't sound
There's no
intimidating.
snow.
Oh my god. I love that panel because I can
Sled!
Valyria, war sleds. Everybody get ready. And you're all like, what? Huh?
Yeah, I'm not. Why should I care? Is there anything edible about these sleds? Can we eat the sleds?
Boars.
Okay, let's kill some fucking boars. I'm on board. Let's do this. Even if it's you and you should have, I don't know, done something different.
Really seeking there. I mean, Valyria, did you want to spout lore about the war sleds?
I would love to spout lore about war sleds.
Go for it.
All right, that is an 8.
Okay. So, what do you say about the war sleds? The only thing I'm going to fill in is they're orcish. They're
Okay.
orc war sleds. They're the orcs that live in the area. This is one of their things. So, what do you say? What do you spout lore about?
The orcs. Now, what you got to watch out for is that they will spear you with these thrown spears that are attached by rope to the end of their war sled, and you do not want that to happen because it will hit you, and then you'll be drugged by the war sled. So it's a hit and run thing. They throw the spears and then get out, and it's not pleasant.
Yep. I think that's perfect. Yeah, right. So that's something that like definitely dodge these spears, but it's also known a little bit that like they have weird shit going on. These spears have strange accuracy too, right? Like throwing from the back of a moving sled, it's really hard. They also throw, and they don't kill you. They don't get it through your torso. They get it through your legs, so they can drag you across the plains, right? So there's a thing here where have you seen this, Valyria, firsthand, or have you just heard stories, or is this from
I
your
have
spear?
seen it firsthand.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Valyria is like super serious as she's telling you all this about the war sleds. I mean, what are the rest of you doing? I'll go to Graves first. What do you do?
So like, are we like in open territory, or I know you said there were sort of hill things, but like, what's the ground like?
Right now you are in like grassy plains, leading up to the hills, which are themselves also grassy.
Okay. So she's gonna get all serious too, because this is Valyria. Shouldn't we get on the hills or something where the sleds can't get to?
Maybe someone should read or whatever the thing is. Read a sitch. It's not read a sitch in Dungeon World. It's
Discern realities. Yep. Yeah.
Certain realities. Yeah.
Do you want to do that, Graves? It sounds like you may have been the one looking around. Yeah. Go for it.
Oh, I'm scared.
You
can do it.
You should.
Can I? That's a 5.
Yeah. So you get an experience point.
Oh, goody.
But yeah. So here's the thing. This war sled, you've still got some good distance, right? Valyria had a real good sight of them far in advance. You've got a little bit of time before they get here. But as you're looking around to try to find good cover or some good position to take, Graves, you notice something weird on top of one of the nearby hills. And like you have to shift your head a little bit to really see it. It's odd. The light coming is strange, but it definitely looks like this weird, I don't know, black thing, and like light refracts around it as you shift your like left and right. I don't know. It looks maybe like somebody tore something in the air, and it's like a thin hairline crack right there. But it's definitely right there, right up on top of one of these hills. And at the same time that you're starting to notice that, Andromeda, you are feeling like a woozy ooginess coming over you. You're starting to feel odd, like something in this area is not right. That internal sense of direction, if it was a compass, is going all the way around, rapid fire. Right, so, I mean, Graves, you're like focused on this, looking back and forth at it. Andromeda, what do you do?
I mean, apart from being thankful I have an empty stomach, so I'm not heaving, I'm going to try out my very new move, which is I can be in 2 places at one time. So I feel like I need to copy myself, which I don't even have to roll for.
You can just do that.
I can just do that thing.
So what does this look like?
Yeah, so, like, I mean, I feel really, like, woozy. I'm kind of like, ugh. Whatever, and I actually think what I end up doing is, like, I open a little pocket universe and I just pull a copy of myself out of there.
And what does the copy of you look like?
The copy of me looks like me, except I think purple instead of blue.
Have you ever done this in front of any of them?
No.
Yeah. So Andromeda just pulled herself out of a hat, basically. It's an odd response to Warslud's coming.
I mean, it seems useful. Like, there's not a lot I can do in this situation.
I mean, when you pull yourself, I should actually say this, too. When you pull yourself out of this little pocket, right, this little pocket reality that you just created, you feel another wave of nausea come over you. Another wave of, whoa, God. And Graves, the crack you're looking at, grows a little wider.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Graves is busy focused on a crack up on the hill. Andromeda just pulled out a second one of herself, who's standing next to her. You don't have to talk, right? You're basically one mind, right, Andromeda?
Can you repeat? I didn't hear you, sorry.
Oh, yeah, sure. You're basically one mind, right? You don't have to talk to your copy. Should I step closer? Like, for you and your, yeah, I'll type it. I will type it loud and proud with my clickety-clackety keyboard. You can buy clickety-clackety keyboard from Amazon.com. They send all your monies to Amazon.com.
If you use smile.amazon.com, you can select a charity, and it'll part of the money will go to the charity instead.
I don't want the money to go to the charity. I want it to come to me. I don't know.
You could probably set yourself up as a charity.
Sold. All right. So Andromeda, you don't have to talk to your copy, and the two of you are sort of a little woozy right now still. And I imagine that means you're trying to get your feet under you before you start moving out to do any particular thing. Aliana, what are you up to?
She pulled out her lute and has started to strum. She's working on working up a spell. She's going to target. Yeah, sure. We'll go with Sha-Sheena for extra damage.
Nice.
See if this works. Actually, I get to choose 2 now, so let's go with extra damage. And the next time somebody successfully assists you, they get a +2 instead of a +1.
Very nice.
So let's hope this works. Assuming I can get the dice up. You can do it. Come on. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Here we go. Roll it. There it goes, finally. 7 plus charisma. 8, 9. 9.
So what happens on a 9?
On a 7 and 9, my spell still works, but I draw unwanted attention or my magic reverberates to other targets, affecting them as well. GM's choice.
Gosh, unwanted attention. What could that come from? Right, so this is, you're strumming, right? You've repaired your, you have a lute, right?
I bought a lute, yeah, I bought a lute last time.
You bought a new lute, and so this is you strumming, and your magic is flowing into Sha-Sheena. What does that look like?
So it sounds kind of like, the opening riffs of, AC/DC. So, you know,
Except on a lute.
Except on a lute, which not nearly as cool, but still cool.
Eventually, we're going to have to get. Aliana has to get an
guitar.
electric lute. Yeah.
Yes, I'll have to get an electric lute, and then I'll have to figure out how to work electricity.
And And so is Sha-Sheena glowing now? Or is there an obvious effect for Sha-Sheena?
I think it's probably she feels it more than she. It's probably more like her sword is glowing than it's her.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
So Sha-Sheena's standing there, and her sword is glowing, and these power lute chords are echoing out over the plains and the hills. Each one of them sort of a strum that sends another burst of light into your sword, Sha-Sheena, and it flares up just a little bit more. The unfortunate part of this, though, is that each strum also has the effect of that crack up on the hill grows a little bit wider with each and every strum. And Graves, you're still staring at it, right? You've been cocking your head left and right to try and get a good view of it, and you start seeing, like, they look like translucent shadow stuff, tentacles, like, slithering out and just flailing around right outside the crack, more and more, and there is a second where, was that an eye? Was that an eye? I think that may have been an eye. That's kind of creepy. That may have been an eye looking at you out through the crack on top of the hill. Yeah, so that crack is getting more and more apparent and dangerous. The war sleds are also still incoming. You can hear probably a little bit of the sound of them humming across the plains and the sound of the clomp of the boars' boots. Sorry, boars' boots. Boars' hooves. No, they're booted boars. So there. So Sha-Sheena, your sword is now glowing. Valyria is trying to direct people's attention to the incoming war sleds. What are you doing, Sha-Sheena?
First, I kiss my sword, and then I blow a kiss to Aliana. Now, the terrain we're on, is there any kind of dip or high point or, I don't know, random spiky branches I can put in their path?
Would you perhaps like to discern realities?
Sure. As one does.
As one does.
Faced with booted boars.
Yes, roll good.
You know, you're making me think of kitten mittens, which makes them a lot less intimidating.
I'm
The
afraid.
orcs on their war sleds drawn by horror kittens.
I totally failed.
What did you get?
5.
Oh, God. Oh,
Hey,
hard
if
move.
anybody helps her, it's +2 instead of +1.
That's
But
true.
he can still only get me up, or to help, or it'll get me up to 7.
It'll
Because
get
of
you up to
Aliana's,
7.
yeah, because of Aliana's song, it's
Oh.
going to give you a +2 if somebody helps you, so it could get you to a 7.
Someone help me!
So who would help Sha-Sheena to discern realities and look for something to use? I mean, I'm looking at Valyria.
I will help.
Awesome.
How do you help?
We need to find high ground where we can face them head on.
Nice.
And I got an 11, so you
Oh
get
my-
+2.
It really is. This is the story of when the Owlbear Scourge missed all the time and Valyria won everything. All right, yeah. So that boosts you up to a 7 on discern realities. So go ahead and you can ask one question, Sha-Sheena, from the list.
What here is useful or valuable to me?
And you were looking around for like spiky things you could put on their path or high ground, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah, some sort of tactical advantage.
Some sort of tactical advantage. Excellent. Yeah, so like the hills, it's not an abrupt thing, right? The hills start sort of one at a time until they become a rolling series of hills. So there's a hill closer to you that if you pulled up on top of it, there is some nasty sort of thornish scrub on the very top. But also, if you're on the top of the hill, they inherently have to come down, and there's no good place for them to come at you at an equal level, right? Even throwing their spears, they'd be throwing it uphill. So right on top of that hill is a great place for you to be to make sure they've got to come at you. There might be a crack on that hill, but we're not going to talk about that part.
Well, I will head that way, raising my glowing sword and crying, "Follow me!"
Okay, so Sha-Sheena goes, like, and I'm imagining this too. Valyria's like, we need high ground, and points. And then Sha-Sheena's like, follow me!
Onward.
So Sha-Sheena and Valeria are now charging up that hill. Aliana, you were strumming your chords. Are you following them?
I'm going to stay with the larger group, so if more people are following, yes. If people are not following, no.
To be clear, if you count them, the gnomes are absolutely following Sha-Sheena.
Good point.
You may not count them.
Yeah, higher ground does sound better than not higher ground. So
Okay.
yes.
So Aliana comes charging up, and I think that you're not so oblivious that you would miss the crack with the horrible shadowy tentacles. So the hill you're running up is it's an independent hill, and it's closer to the coming orc war sleds. So you'll have a good vantage point up top, but the other hill is the one that Graves is looking at, and that's a little bit in the other direction. And that's the one with the crack and the shadow tentacles. So Aliana and Sha-Sheena and Valeria and the gnomes are all running up to prepare themselves for the coming of the orc war sleds. Andromeda, you've got two of you still feeling really woogie and woozy, and there's Graves looking left and right at this weird crack in reality through which horrible shadow tentacles are starting to slither. I think it's relatively easy for you to just look and see what Graves is looking at and follow her line of sight and be like, huh. So Graves, what do you do?
So I think Graves does one of those things where she's kind of bobbing and weaving and trying to look at this thing from different angles, and then she's like, "Do you see that?" And then she realizes almost the entire party has left. I think Andromeda's still there, right?
There are two Andromedas there, actually.
Yes, there's
Thanks for that.
And now she's looking between Andromeda and the crack on the hill, and Andromeda and the crack on the hill. And now she doesn't know who to ask if they see two Andromedas. I must be really hungry. We should follow them, probably. And she's doing this thing where she's not sure which Andromeda she's supposed to be talking to.
Well, there's the blue one, which is the normal one, and the other one's purple.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
So
she
purple
will.
is second-class citizen. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that doesn't look very good. I don't think we should. Maybe I'll leave the other one. I'll leave the purple one.
So you're going to leave the purple one there, Andromeda, and the blue Andromeda, and we should start calling them Andromeda Blue and Andromeda P or something. Andromeda Blue is going to go up the hill with Graves following the armored crew. Okay. Whereas, is Andromeda Purple going to investigate the crack on the hill?
Oh, heck yes.
Oh, okay. So you're actually closing in.
Sure.
That's excellent. Okay. All right. I'm just going to read this two places thing here quickly just to make sure. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. All right. So up on top of the hill that you have all run up to, right, Purple Andromeda has a little ways to go to get to the crack. You can clearly see the orc war sleds coming in. Now that they're getting closer, you can see the orcs in clearer view, right? And they're wearing their traditional orc garb, right? They're wearing their bandoliers of gears and numerous different machines and spy glasses and all the equipment they need to make their hover sleds continue to run. They've got the boars that are running in front, all of them harnessed in and lashed in via complex mechanical harnesses, and standing on top, they're a few of them are starting to load up those spears, right, which are long, brassy-looking spears with the tensile, it's actually almost metal now, the rope they're using. It's like a what's the word I'm looking for?
Cable?
Cable, that's it, thank you. It's basically cable, yeah, at the back of the rope. So, yeah, and the orcs are, some of them are adjusting their goggles to get a better view of you, as they're approaching you on their sleds, and of course now all the sleds are coming right in, and they reach the bottom of your hill, and they're going to come bounding straight up the hill towards you. So as they're coming up, they're not yet throwing their spears, but they've definitely got their guys ready to hurl the spears right up the hill at you. Although being up on top of the hill does give you a bit of advantage in that regard. So I'm going to ask, what does anybody do? Who steps forward and does something first as the war sleds are charging up the hill?
I want to.
Yeah. All right. What do you do?
Are any of them in particular have like fancier armor or grunting authoritatively at the other orcs?
Sure. So there are 3 sleds coming. There's one sled in the middle, and I think the sled in the middle actually has one guy he's only got one eye, and he's got a spyglass in front of the other one. Not anymore. He put it down now. But his like suit is a little bit more ornate. It has more markings on it. It has more gears hanging from it. He seems to be issuing orders, calling out commands to either of the 2 sleds on either side.
Okay, I will stand forward, point my glowing sword at him, and tell him, "Come and get me, so I can strip the hide from your flesh and send it to your father, so he knows what weakling he spawned."
I don't think it really matters, because they can totally take your meaning, and they may understand common anyway. But are you saying this in Orcish? Do you speak Orcish?
That's not an option on my sheet. I want to say yes.
I could buy that you can speak Orcish. I mean, you're not from around here. You could learn some.
At least insults.
That's fair.
Speaks Orcish insults,
Sha-Sheena speaks insults.
I can order a drink, and I can insult people.
In every language. All right, go for it, Sha-Sheena. This is going to be your, whatchamacallit. What are you waiting for, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure how this will work with the usurper move as well. That's kind of why I wanted to target him.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Okay, no, I buy this. So you're calling out a challenge to your enemies. So them, in general, I would imagine if this move hits, they will, in general, pay attention to you. But also, if you can prove yourself superior specifically to this guy, you might be able to even be like, stop the fight because you beat their leader.
That would be awesome.
All right, go for it. So roll for what are you waiting for?
All right. 7 plus, let's see. My computer is being slightly slow and not wanting to scroll.
Scroll is for jumps.
Apparently. Plus con. 7, 8. I got an 8.
Okay. So on a 7 and 9, only a few, the weakest or most foolhardy among them, fall prey to your taunting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I mean that's definitely what this is, right? Like they're coming up, and the orcs on the other sleds, a couple of them, like there's the guy who's in charge of holding the reins of the boars, and looks like a younger orc. There's on the other sled, there's one of the spear throwers, and she looks pretty young as well, and she like starts looking really incensed because they understood what you said, and they look really pissed on their leader's behalf. The leader, of course, is like whatever. She's a skull-wearing weirdo from somewhere else. I don't really care. Like my ancestors aren't going to be offended at anything she says. So he's like trying to establish order over his guys. The problem is that almost immediately a few of the younger ones on either sled to either side start to react to you. Like the one on the left pushes the sled forward to charge upon you, Sha-Sheena, and the one on the right, she throws her spear right at you. So that spear is now twisting and hurtling through the air, that cable stretching backward to the sled behind it. What do you do?
I would like to leap forward out of the spear's way onto the sled that's coming towards me.
Okay. I think that you can totally try that thing. I think that this is going to be a defy danger of Dex, getting out of the way or acting fast.
Yeah, this is totally not going to go bad with the way we've been rolling.
Also,
and
to
the
be
fact
clear,
that I have terrible Dex.
Think of all the XP you're gaining.
This is a fantastic Sha-Sheena maneuver at the best of times, but right now Sha-Sheena's on a hungry stomach.
Boars! I could eat the boars as I'm running over the sled. Let's do this. Let's not do this. Let's get a 3. Shit. All right. So I got a 2.
Oh my goodness.
Do the boars eat me? Is that how that works?
Oh dear. Oh, poor Sha-Sheena.
Would someone else like roll for me tonight? Can I have someone else's dice? Bad dice.
Somebody else
Dice
still
shaming.
rolling.
They
For the rest
shaming.
of tonight.
Yeah.
So
They make
roll
her-
Sha-Sheena. Alright. I'm looking for a thing. Yeah, let's do you. Okay. Yeah, so here's the thing, right? The sled that you were running towards, Sha-Sheena, you leap into the air, and it's this badass moment, right? The comic panel shows this Sha-Sheena charging up and then leaping into the air with a sword over her head, and it's glowing, and it's this like epic shot. And then a spear slams into Sha-Sheena's side and knocks her out of the air. She falls on top of some of the boars, who like snap and gore her with their tusks as she rolls off to the side. And when we see her lying on the ground amidst the grass and the dirt, like there's that little sound noise of her stomach rumbling. Poor Sha-Sheena.
That was great.
This maneuver goes like that spear catches you in your side. So that alone, go ahead and take d6 plus 2 damage with 1 piercing.
Oh yeah, now. Oh, now you're like that, aren't you? Fucking dice. I rolled a 5.
Okay. Did you roll the 5, or was that a 5 total?
I rolled a 5.
Okay, so that would be a 7, and then it's 1 piercing, so it ignores 1 armor. And that's the spear in your side, which is still attached to the end of their sled. And so the next move they make, of course, is they rapidly juke, and they start dragging you away across the ground, and like you have barely a second to even pay attention to anything before your face is starting to get scraped along the grass and the dirt as you are being pulled away from the rest of the group. This is classic orc war sled tactics. So Valeria, what are you doing? Because you were like right up there, right?
So I just want to make sure I understand correctly. There's the lead sled that's kind of pulling back. The sled on the left is kind of charging forward, and she tried to tangle with them, and she's been roped by one from the right sled, which is pulling to the side, right?
Yes, the right sled is now pulling to the side and dragging her away. The left sled was charging towards her and didn't quite, like she was trying to leap on as they were coming up, and that spear caught her midair before she could get on. And now she's being pulled away. The left sled is still charging forward now at the rest of you, like you are guilty by association.
I'm sure she'll be fine. Everyone knows that when you're faced with a war set, you got to charge them head on. That's where they're weakest. They can't they can't throw the spears straight ahead. So I grab my spear and just charge the boars straight on.
That's amazing. Charge the boars straight on.
Yeah.
And so this is like you're trying to gore the boars, and like is it to halt the sled?
So my plan is I'm gonna come in with my spear, just raise forward. And once I get in their midst, I'm gonna do a thing where I like sweep it around, and the idea is to scatter the boars, and if everything goes right, it'll tip the war sled over.
Wow. Okay. That's kind of awesome. All right, so I'm trying to think then if this is, because this may not exactly be like a hack and slash straightforward, right? This isn't necessarily where you're worried first and foremost about killing the boars. This is this complicated maneuver you're trying to pull off to tip over the war sled, it sounds like, right? So to me, this absolutely sounds like a defy danger with strength. You're trying to defy danger by powering through.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yep.
Go for it.
That is an 11.
Wow, and the saga of the Owlbear Scourge and the hero Valeria continues. Yeah, so it's this yeah, exactly, right? You can see that little speech bubble as Sha-Sheena's getting dragged off of, what the hell? She's going away. And, like, this crazy friggin' maneuver, the spear comes down. Go ahead and describe it. What do you do, Valeria? What flips the sled?
The boards are coming forward. Valeria charges forward, and the boards are like 2 ranks wide. And they're coming at her, and she slips between them in the middle of them, and then spins the spear, and the boars just have no idea what to do. So they're now panicked and going in different directions, and the sled is tipped over and spills all the orcs into the floor, and Valeria just kind of steps calmly over the reins and brings the spear into a fighting stance.
And the badass hero pose as the sled is turned over and the running, fleeing boars drag it a little bit still, right? Like, so they can't even right it and get back on top of it. And Valeria is standing there in a fighting stance as they're trying to pick themselves up, and the orc leader back on that center sled is like, right, so while that's going on, while Valeria is doing this badass maneuver, and Sha-Sheena is getting dragged away by the spear embedded in her side. What are Aliana, Graves, and Andromeda doing?
So Graves is going to turn to Andromeda and say, "Get me on that sled." And she's pointing to the one that's dragging Sha-Sheena.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna do that thing. Except I have to roll for this one.
No.
What does this look like?
Wrong. Yeah, this is so to open up a fold in space. I don't have to roll unless I want it to be big enough for a person to get through, which I do. So, yeah. So I kind of feel like it just looks like me sort of folding back reality, and I just keep folding it until it's big enough for a person.
Go for it.
And now I'm afraid to roll. I don't know if it's going to show up because my computer's not liking me this evening.
If it doesn't show up, you can read it. And if you say it's anything but a miss, I will think you're a liar.
Can you see it?
No.
It's actually I rolled 2 3s and I have a 2, so it's a 8.
Whatever you say, liar.
8.
Excellent. Okay, so it's an 8. So on a 7 to 9, it says the fold is unstable. Either only one person can pass through safely, or the fold is unsafe to use for some reason. The GM will tell you why. Okay. It's unsafe for some reason. Gosh, I wonder what possible reason there could be for that. Yeah, that's the thing. I think you create the fold, and it's big enough for Graves to pass through, no problem. And it opens up, like you can see the rift. And this is tough, right, Andromeda? The sled's moving. So for this to work really well, you either have to time it perfectly right, or you have to create a moving portal on the other end. Which is it that you do?
I think I have to time it just right.
Okay, so like this is, you create the portal in the air, and if she steps through at exactly the right moment, she'll cross over right on top of it. Yeah, I think that's awesome. So it's unsafe to use for simply that reason, right? Like, Graves, you've got a path, but if you step through like at the wrong second, you will go splat. It's pasted by this fleeing war sled. The other part of it, though, is that as soon as you open the portal, you can already feel that wooziness upon you again, Andromeda. This entire area feels super unstable, and like it's weird. But is you're holding or folding the space itself and creating the portal? It's like you feel things slithering along your hands. It's like you can feel things like touching you, like little worm bits.
Ew.
Yeah, that's not right. Yeah, so Graves, do you dive through the portal at the right moment?
Yes.
I push her at the right moment. Like, I'm looking at the thing, I'm looking at her, looking at the thing, push.
I could buy that. If that's the case, if you're going to push her, then to me that's actually a defy danger with quick thinking for you, Andromeda.
Okay. What is
So
that?
that's going to be
What's
plus
that?
int.
Awesome. I'm not great at int.
Oh dear.
I'm not bad at it. I'm nothing at it, actually.
Okay.
Do. That is boxcars.
Nice. Very nice. Perfect moment, right? Graves,
Right?
and Graves, you notice those weird slithery bits at the edge of the portal, and so I can imagine this like half second where you pointed it and you're like, is that cool? And then she just shoves you through. And Graves, suddenly, like, you fall through the portal and you land on your feet on the fleeing war sled, dragging Sha-Sheena behind it. You're right there. You're ready to go. They were not expecting this even a little bit. What do you do?
First thing I'm doing is cutting the rope.
How? With your halberd?
I have a halberd. It has reach.
Got it. So it's a cable, right? So this stuff is thick and tough.
Okay.
Is this? Are you doing one mighty swing here, or are you trying to do?
I'm hoping I do one mighty swing.
Well, actually, what I'm going to call out is you're all pretty damn hungry, man, right? Like, you're preparing to do your one mighty swing, and your stomach is rumbly. Like, this might take a couple of hits to get it right. I'm saying right out of the gate. So I'm just telling you, like, if you're going to go for it, that's awesome. You can hack through that cable. The orcs are not going to be completely complacent while you do that, right? Like, so they're going to start acting against you while you are hacking it. Is that what you want to do?
Yes. That's absolutely fine.
Okay. So actually, I mean, to be clear, I think that this is no longer about can you cut through the cable. You will cut through with a couple hacks, right? The question is, can you take the orcs smacking you as you continue to calculate, right? Like, this is the scene where Indiana Jones is holding onto his dad and, like, the Nazi is punching him from behind. This is that scene.
I love that
Basically,
scene.
my metaphor makes Sha-Sheena into Sean Connery, so yeah, it works. All right, go ahead and roll.
Is that a good thing?
Is that a good thing? That's actually open for debate. Go ahead and roll plus, what did I say? Enduring con. Hit it.
Is this a defy danger?
Yes, it is.
Oh, thank God. Okay. That is a 9, actually.
You sure that's not a 6 or less? I think that should be. That could be. Could that be a 6?
There's a 6 and there's a 2.
Oh,
So that's an 8 right away, and then I have a 1 on my character sheet. It's a 1.
you make me sad. All right, excellent. So that's a 7 and 9. So this, I mean, absolutely right. This is as simple as you hack through it, right? You cut through the cable. But I mean, by the time you've done, they've been pummeling you, they've been hitting you, and they've got their shit together. So first of all, they're just going to do simple, like, they're not hitting you. They were all surprised. So their first reaction was to punch you and not to actually, like, cut you with anything significant because they weren't ready for this. So that's just going to be a simple, I think, 1d4 damage. Nothing, not a big deal. Your armor may even just be able to take it. So go ahead and roll 1d4.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't even get through.
Yeah, okay. So they're beating you, and it's certainly not comfortable. But, you know, your armor's taking it, and you can do this. The real issue, though, is that if you really want to keep cutting through this cable, they are going to be right on top of you with blades, like close range. No way your halberd is going to work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Is that cool?
That's fine. I have to free Sha-Sheena.
All right, so Sha-Sheena, the cable cuts through, and you go rolling off to the side as suddenly you are no longer being dragged. I think being dragged for that little long did do some more damage to you. I think that hurt, right? You took some more scrapes. I'm not going to make it a huge amount. I think it's probably just going to be another d4 for you as well.
I'm here, bad dice. They're all hiding. There we go.
He said what?
2. Excellent. So
Point
again,
damage.
yeah, it's not too bad, right? You've taken worse, but you look kind of muddy and messy and dirty and scraped up.
That's how I look best. Oh, sorry.
Now, actually, I think the big issue is, I mean, your sword. Did you hold on to it?
Of course I held on to it. I would hold on to that through anything. Everything.
Okay. Sure you would. Yeah.
You would have to cut off my hand to make me drop my sword, unless I throw it away from myself on purpose. So I could put it away.
In which case, no hand cutting is necessary. I'm gonna call out that, like, as a little bit of a rewind, that's gonna be defying danger by enduring, right? To just keep your grasp on the sword and avoid, like, not bringing your hands up to protect your face from rocks and stuff as you're getting dragged across them.
Fuck my face. All right.
Fuck my face. Our new Chain World motto.
Which stat is that plus?
Con.
All right, so we have a 7.
Excellent. Okay. So I think in this case, absolutely, you can hold on to it, but like I said, your face got bashed. This hurts. This is not just that D4 of just the scrapes across all of your body. This is going to be pretty bad, and it's going to be armor piercing because this is your face. So, but you want to hold on to your sword, right?
Hell yeah.
All right, so it's a D8 damage to your face.
You really enjoyed just saying that.
The face is my target area of choice.
So that was 7 points of damage.
Yeah, Sha-Sheena is pretty bloody. Yeah. I mean, but the good news is the cable is cut and you can pull yourself up to see graves being swarmed by orcs as the war sled pulls away.
Can I act or...
I think, like, this is you, like, the comic panel as we're about to cut away is you pulling yourself up from the ground, and we actually see, like, your eyes bloody and bruised, and, like, blood is streaming down your face, and we see that Sha-Sheena, like, somebody's gonna die. So, all right. I want to know what Aliana is doing. So, Aliana, there's Valeria. She's standing ready, totally prepared for the incoming war group. What are you doing?
So I'm ramping up another song, Louder Than Hell. It's just loud and vicious and vibrant, and I'm aiming it at the lead orc dude, and I'm unleashing a crazed performance, and hopefully that won't go horribly wrong.
Let us cross our fingers.
Hey! Fuck yeah! That's a 13, motherfucker. So a 10 plus, the...
It's not 2? I wish it was 2.
I'm positive! I can read. So a 10 plus, the target attacks their nearest ally in range. Yeah, and I do not draw their attention any more than I already had.
Any more than you already had. Excellent. So this was you were targeting the leader guy, right?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic, yeah. So he reaches down to his belt, and he, like, pulls forth from it this sword that immediately, like, a weird smoky stuff starts coming out from around it as he pulls it out of his sheath. And he swings this, like, weird smoky sword. Like, the notes of your song penetrate his brain, and you can see his eyes go a little crazy glazed, and he just swings that sword. And one of the orcs immediately near him, the smoke sears through their armor. It, like, melts the instant before the blade of the sword touches them. And he just carves one in half. And that orc falls off of the war sled. And just horribly gory, right? Like, there's not even a chance that orc survives. And he stands there holding the smoking sword. The smoke sort of dissipates as it rises up above the sword. And the crazed performance you unleashed, right? It doesn't last very long.
Mm-hmm. No.
Right? Is that because, like, you just peter out? I mean, you're hungry.
No, it's like, it's a kind of a you have your waves of songs. You can't stay up the whole time, so it goes up, and you can only sustain a high, loud note for so long without.
Got it. So this is your solo. This is basically the solo. It's the great.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay. And it's just poor musicianship to extend your solo for too long. I get it.
Yeah, it would just be bad for the song.
So when his eyes start coming back to himself, right? They start turning normal again. And he sees what he did. He sees his sword is out. He looks back at the orc who tumbled off. This war sled also was not, like, charging up the hill either. This was slowly advancing up the hill, but not charging. He looks back, and he does not look happy. And he fixates, I think, on the person who's most forward, right? He fixates upon Valeria. And he's actually going to stride forward and step off of the war sled and start stalking across the plain straight towards Valeria. All right, quickly, before we deal with the showdown, last thing is Andromeda Purple. Yeah. Crack in space. Horrible shadowy things slithering through it. What are you doing here, Andromeda Purple?
I mean, I'm checking it out because I am not actually like putting my actual body at risk.
This is dangerous. So actually, I mean, this is sort of a question just to make sure we're on the same page about the rules here, right? It says for 2 places, if you take damage while you're in 2 places, that copy of you immediately disappears. So if either one of the 2 of you gets damaged, it immediately disappears, and you take the damage as normal. So if Andromeda Purple gets hurt, you get hurt.
That's not how I read it. Okay, I did not read that. This should be fun.
This is Andromeda playing with a new power and doing, I'm invulnerable.
It's very apt.
I'm invulnerable. Nothing can harm.
Wait, that's not how that worked.
So what do you do, Andromeda? Like, as you get up to this horrible, weird crack in reality, and absolutely, there's something past it that is moving and slithering.
I would like to discern realities.
Go for it.
Because that's a thing. I got a 12.
3 questions. Go ahead and ask.
Questions. I mean, obviously, what should I be on the lookout for? Because that one's easy.
Yeah, you should be on the lookout for this thing coming through. This portal is slowly but surely getting bigger, and you can sort of put it together, right? Andromeda Purple and Andromeda Blue share the consciousness, so you are aware when Aliana starts playing her music and does weird things with her music, this portal starts tearing a little bit more. When Andromeda Blue opens up the portal, this portal grows a little bit more. Each thing that sort of destabilizes reality causes this rent to grow a little bit more. So you should be looking out for this growing big enough that something can come through.
Okay. What here is useful or valuable to me? I mean, I'm going more for useful, but I don't know if I get to pick.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. Looking at this portal, you understand portals better than anybody else on this probably entire planet, except for maybe that spider-kobold that you killed.
See? I know the best on the planet!
And this is pointing to a bad place. It's definitely pointing to a bad place. But what's useful about it is that it is definitely pointing far. Who cares about a spaceship if you can rewire these portals to go out where you need to? So this portal itself, this rent in reality itself, if you can play with it, if you can adjust it, the instability of reality is useful to you inherently.
Okay. And what here is not what it appears to be?
It turns out Sha-Sheena's a werewolf. No. I think that what here is not what it appears to be. That's interesting.
It's really a nice cuddly monster, and he just wants to snuggle.
I just want to hug you. My name's Mr. Snugglepuss, the elder thing. Oh, snap. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, I hate it when I hear you say, oh, snap.
I think I got it. Okay. What here is not what it appears to be. This actually comes from something else, right? Andromeda Purple, you split yourself. So, are there 2 Basils?
Oh. I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I just split myself, and I think if it was if it was Bernard, then yes. But it's not Bernard anymore, it's Basil.
And so there's only 1 Basil, and that's with Andromeda Blue?
Yes.
Okay. Because I still think that the Basil with Andromeda Blue, right, can still feel it through the both of you.
Okay.
Through the connection that is both of you. So that Basil, you watch it grow dimmer the closer Andromeda Purple comes to the portal. And you watch Basil, like, pull into one of your pockets and just sort of hide and shelter. And what here is not what it appears to be. This thing on the other side is no mere, like, monster. This is some kind of, like, shadow god that is the complete inverse of a sun god, right?
Awesome. What can go wrong?
Nothing. You should play with it.
Yeah. Oh crap. I don't have any moves to close portals, but I want to try to close down this portal.
I would like to close the portal, please.
Yeah. I just there's a door, right? I just close the door.
Oh yeah, it should be fine. It should be really easy. Yeah.
I mean, is it like a portal, like the sort of portals that I open up, or is it like a hole, like we were sent to, investigate the hole, the tears or rips or whatever?
It's a tear. It's a tear in reality caused by there's an instability in this region, and stuff you were doing was opening it up more and more, like making things more and more unstable. Trying to close this, if you wanted to, I mean, I think that you have power over portals. If you want to try to force the edges closed, I think that could be fair. To me, this is about enduring, like physically, right? This isn't just about mental fortitude. This is about can you force it together with your strength? Can you? And the slithering tentacles, as soon as you start pushing it closed, right? They're going to start attacking the Yuck. So you want to close it?
I would like to try.
Go for it. Roll plus con.
I have a +1 in con. It seems apt because I kept almost dying, and then I actually did. 7. Because of my +1 in con.
Saved by the +1.
Yes.
All right.
Every little bit counts.
Mostly I wanted the hit points, okay? To be honest. I just wanted the hit points.
So that's interesting. You can close this portal, but one of those tentacles is going to get at you if you stay here, spending your time closing the portal. It's gonna pierce you. Are you cool with that, or would you rather retreat?
No, I'll close the portal. I'll let it do damage.
Yeah, it doesn't do damage.
Okay. I'll let it do whatever it's gonna do. I'm still gonna close the portal.
So, you know that piece of meteor around your neck?
Yes.
That shadow tentacle pours into the meteor, and it turns black around your neck. And you can feel a weird coldness pour into Andromeda Purple. And Basil, in your pocket, you can't really sense him anymore.
You're taking away my pet again? What the hell?
Well, you're busy doing stuff. You can check them later. It's fine.
Yeah, totally fine.
All right, but the portal closes. The rip closes. You pull it together.
Okay.
And after that, I mean, you're standing there totally shaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
The meteor necklaces around both Andromeda's necks, both of them turn jet black.
Okay.
And that blackness seems to have wrapped all the way around the necklace. I mean, a cursory thing, just touching it, there's no way you're pulling this off your neck.
Yeah, I was going to assume that.
No way, yeah. All right, so Valeria, the lead orc, has gotten off the war sled and is stomping his way towards you. That sword shrouded in smoke. Do you speak Orcish, Valeria?
I don't.
Interesting. Okay, so of course he'd stomp forward and he'd point his finger and he'd say something to you in Orcish. And Orcish is a pretty, I think it's actually like a, I want to say fairly, not a harsh language, it's actually fairly melodic. It's almost like they sing their own words, like the different tones they use produce different meanings. So it's very sing-song, it's very, it's actually kind of pleasant. Their voices tend to be a little bit more gravelly, just in general. So it produces this weird effect, and of course in some areas this is very well liked. But right now he's clearly saying things along the lines of like, hate you and kill you. But as he points one finger straight at you, Valeria, and he holds the sword out, pointed at you as well. And then he does like a quick chop with it in the air in front of you. What do you do?
I bring my spear up and point it at him and do kind of the warrior's salute. And because I want to use this move before the end of the session, ancestors guide me. I will ask my spear for advice.
Excellent. Okay. So how does that work?
I roll plus charisma, and I got an 11.
My goodness.
And it is very much like when you consult the spirits that reside within your signature weapon, they will give you some insight relating to your current situation and might ask you questions in return. Roll plus charisma. On a 10 plus, the GM will give you a good detail. So it's basically opening my brain to my spear. And my mom's in there.
Nice. And your mom's in there. Your mom speaks through the spear to you, of course. What is your mom? How does your mom speak to you? What is that?
When I'm holding the spear, I can hear her in my mind, and it's definitely a chorus of voices, but my mom's is the strongest.
And like, what is the way in which she communicates? Is she like nice? Is she coddling? Is she very gruff? Is she brusque?
She's definitely an overbearing mother. Your stance is all wrong. You need to stand up straight, get your chin up, or that sword is going to take your head right off.
Oh, of course, excellent. So her voice like trickles out of the myriad that you're hearing, and she's of course like, "You called that a salute? I taught you to do better than that when you were 5.
Do you know anything about that sword, Mom? This could be important."
Well, I know that you should show greater honor to an orc war chief, but maybe somebody just doesn't have time for that. But you never had time to come see me when I was out on the road killing things. Yes, that sword, you probably should not let it touch you, or me, as it were, or really anything if you possibly can. The mists around it are not of this world, and they melt the reality out of the things here. If you let it touch your armor, it will cleave through. If you let it touch me, and by me she means the spear. If you let it touch me, I'd like to think we'd survive. I can't be sure. But it is the sign of his power. If you can take it from him, you may be able to end this. Now open your stance a little bit more.
Yeah.
And now, grip. Your hands are too close together, Valeria. Come on, we've talked about this. Is there a point at which you cut her off?
I plant the spear. I plant it in the ground, and extend my hand towards the orc war chief, and do kind of a bring this.
Nice. So he, like, when you do the come here, right? He grins. He's totally good with this, and he comes charging in, right, swinging his sword.
Okay.
What do you do?
I'm going to dodge it, and you said that I want to dodge, get in close, and you said that these guys had all these bandoliers, so I want to grab like a gear or something spiky on it and just jab it right in his face.
Nice. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. I love it. Okay. So I think then that this isn't exactly a hack and slash, I guess. This is, first you're trying to dodge his incoming strike. Then you want to just stab him in the face, right?
Yep.
I mean, yeah. Because it could be a hack and slash, but that would be more like if you and he were just going at it, right? Striking at each other and exchanging blows. This is really you trying to duck inside and get something off of his bandoliers and stab him with it. So I'm cool with this being getting out of the way or acting fast. Is that okay? Is that cool?
All right.
So that's Defy Danger with Dex. Go for it.
That is a 5. Fail.
Also,
It happens sooner or later.
I think it's also fair you would get a +1 for because you had the higher ground, right? You set this up, you would get that discern realities. Is there anybody who can help Valeria? I think I'm just checking. I think the only one who might have a shot right now is Aliana, right?
Yeah, I mean, Aliana was going to try basically screaming a really high, glass-shatteringly high note at him and trying to, like, deafen him.
Nice. So much for the sanctity of this duel as he comes charging in prepared to fight only Valeria, and then Aliana bursts his eardrums.
Dude, I don't play fair. Fair gets you killed.
Fair is what you pay to ride the bus. Go ahead and roll to help Valeria.
Alright. What am I adding?
+1, your bonds with Valeria.
Okay, then that would be a 7.
Excellent. Okay, so you expose yourself to danger, retribution, or cost, but it works. So that should bring Valeria up to a 7 total, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so on a 7, that means you stumble, hesitate, or flinch. Okay. So here's the Valeria, for your plan to work. You've got to duck in, and his swords, he's trying to bring it down. You don't quite dodge the whole of it. You aren't going to get cut, but it's totally going to slag your armor in the back, which means you are like really going to be an easy target from that area, right? Like that sword will just cut into you like butter if it touches your back, and your armor on the back is nice and melted and screwed up.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yep.
All right, but that does mean you still getting close. Meanwhile, however, Aliana, for your little shriek that throws him off his game enough that Valeria can scoop in under his strike, the other orcs are like, okay, they're not playing fair, so we're not going to play fair. And several of them pull up their spears to hurl at Aliana.
Of course.
I want to keep going with Valeria. So, Valeria, you're in close. You wanted to pull something off of his bandolier. That's not a problem.
I grab a gear and I shove it into his one good eye.
Oh, God. That's so mean. He's, like, going to be cursing. I only had one eye. This is just cruel. I think because you ducked in close, right? You can just pull the gear off and you just stab it into his eye. And like he starts stumbling backwards, his other hand coming up to clench as one hand holds the sword still. He's snarling now, and he's clearly enraged. And he's just going to come right back at you with a general notion of where you are, swinging the sword like a madman, though. And since this sword is pretty darn deadly, right, like it's still dangerous, even if he's swinging crazily. You're a trained warrior, you can probably deal with this, but it's not totally solved yet. So what do you do in response, Valeria?
What I need to do is I need to get him to stab himself with the sword. So he's coming in at me, and I'm going to grab his sword arm and try to just turn it back on him, because that's got to work. That might work.
Wow. Okay, that's kind of amazing. Yeah, that's powering through, right? That's you. You are putting your strength up against his. This is you forcing his arm back upon himself. Go ahead and defy danger with strength. All the dangers.
That is a 12.
And the story continues. Yes. And so it's this tense moment, right? Like where you're struggling with his arm and he's struggling back and he's pushing as hard as he can, and then that sword you're like slicing it down through his neck. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's nasty, right? His armor seems especially resilient to the sword's strange smoke, but it doesn't help enough. His neck is exposed enough that sword, like as soon as it starts cutting into his flesh, you can watch his skin like melt away a little bit. This is nasty, and he grunts. He doesn't even scream. He doesn't let you have the glory of a scream. But yeah, that sword, as it punches down into his neck, he just sort of, the strength leaves his arms. And I mean, are you cleaving his head off, or are you going to let it be as it is?
Yes.
Oh, his head?
Yeah.
Time for the head? Okay. Yeah, his head comes off. And like he slumps down to his knees, falls forward, the head rolls across the hill. And like down the hill. And so, yeah, now you're standing there.
Yeah, I'm standing there holding the magic sword.
Yep. Of course, well, Aliana, to be clear, is now they're chucking spears at her. So Aliana, they're chucking spears at you, right? Like, Valeria was busy doing this whole contest of strength. She couldn't really help you. What did you do when they started hurling spears your way?
Turned tail and ran?
Excellent. All right. So, Yeah, they're chucking spears your direction. I think that you should be rolling to get out of the way or acting fast. And these are dangerous
Alright.
spears, like I said. These are like weird homing spears. So go ahead and roll. Plus dex.
So it's 8, 9. 9 to get the fuck out of the way.
9.
Which may run out. Yeah.
May or may not. Alright, so here's the bad news. Aliana, you were probably holding back some of the most. Andromeda had to push forward to open the portal for Graves. So you were one of the furthest back out of everybody here. The gnomes.
Yes.
The gnomes were hiding behind you, Aliana. Are you fine with them taking the blow instead of you? No head, no nodding.
Say yes!
You can encourage. The gnomes with their bright blue eyes and the
Okay,
the
wait.
watery-
On the one hand, they're the reason we're here in the first place, so I'm going to say yes. I wouldn't even be here if it weren't for them. So yes, I have no problems with them taking the hit.
Oh man, okay. Alright, so yeah, no problems. Aliana just bolts, and those spears, like 3 of them, stab into the gnomes. Like 4 of the gnomes. Like one spear hits one gnome, one spear hits one gnome, and another spear gores 2 of them. And then the orcs start pulling the cable back in, dragging the gnomes back across the plains to pull up onto their war sled. It's good eating. Yeah, so that was pretty gruesome, right? And the gnome's like one of the ones who got stabbed, Viscera. Like he holds out his hand, and he's like, "No, Sha-Sheena, save me!" as he gets dragged across. It's terrible. I mean, so by the time Valeria, you're done, you cut off his head, right? The gnomes. Did
That's
Paul
what I was going to
get
ask.
Did Paul?
Is Paul one of the ones that got...
I do not think Sha-Sheena was so lucky. I believe her fiancé survived. Because I am a cool and unusual Garmsmeister. Alright, so, I mean, Valeria, by the time you're done, you chopped his head off, right? They're pulling the gnome corpses up onto the war sled. You're standing there in front of the corpse of their war chief, and Aliana has bolted. Andromeda is still there, having done the portal and sort of dealing with her 2 locational thing. But at the moment, the orcs, like, on the war sled, they're looking at you, having just slain their war chief. It's in what was supposed to be legitimate combat, until somebody interfered. And they do not make any move towards you, Valeria. What do you do?
What's going? The third. So everybody's pretty much okay except the gnomes, which are dead anyway, right?
So right here, right now, Aliana bolted. Andromeda looks a little like woozy, and like she was paying attention to something else. But she's back here now, right? And she's probably like, oh, Andromeda, what are you doing actually right now? Quick, let's figure that out. What are you actually doing?
I mean, I think, like, after I figured out that I'm not getting this necklace off, I think I might have actually, like, dropped purple Andromeda, because, like, I can't focus.
Yep.
Kind of distracted, what with the Elder God being in the necklace on my neck.
Yep.
I mean, part of one, not all of one. Part of one.
So it's fine. Yeah,
Right.
That's fine.
So I think I'm actually... I think I'm actually just sort of confused. I think the thing, like, going in the necklace, like, kind of clouded my head, and I still feel nauseous, and I don't really know what's going on.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm going to be
so-
unhelpful and just be a sitting target.
So Andromeda's pretty
Welcome.
confused. Andromeda's standing there pretty confused, close by. Aliana bolted. And Sha-Sheena, you can probably see a little bit in the distance pulling herself up. Or she did at least a little while ago. I want to cut back in on that in a second. And Graves is on that sled riding away. So, I mean, theoretically, yeah, right here, right now, nobody's in immediate danger. The gnome's already dead. What do you do, Valeria?
I'm just going to kind of stare down the remaining orcs and dare them to either get out or step on up.
Yeah. I'm debating with myself whether this is even a parley, because again, I think that theoretically speaking, your fight with their chieftain, right, was like, that was legit. That was, or at least it would have been if Aliana hadn't interfered. But it was mostly legit, and they also saw you carve his head off, and so ignoring legitimacy, you're also the person who just killed their chieftain, and you're holding his sword. Yeah, I think that as you just glare at them, they sort of pull back, they pull away. The sled, the boars back up, they turn to the side, and they start pulling the sled away. Or the two sleds, I should say, because there was a second sled still here. So the two sleds start pulling away. All right, so let's see. Graves was on the sled. They were swarming on top of Graves, and Sha-Sheena was picking herself up out of the dirt on the ground behind. So Sha-Sheena, what did you do? Did you come charging after the sled?
Hell yes.
This is amazing. Okay. So the sled's moving pretty quickly, right? And you're running on an empty stomach and having gotten the shit kicked out of you. So are you just relying on, like, you are Sha-Sheena, and there is no way the sled gets away? Is that the long and short of it, or are you doing something else to catch up with the sled?
I'm motivating myself by reminding myself I can eat what I kill.
And on that terrifying thought, wow. What are your Herculean appetites?
Of all the things I say, that's the one. Power over others and fame and glory. I need power. Yeah, because you are going to eat them. Oh my goodness. All right, go ahead. This is Defy Danger with Dex to see if you catch up. So let's see, 2d6 and then a d8. All right. 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see, I'm defying danger with what? Dex. Fucking Dex. 7. 7, and then on my my D8 is higher than anything. Yay! So actually, I'm just going to quickly say this because for anybody who actually would care, I think theoretically there's an updated version of the Barbarian that says it's when the D6 is higher than the D8. I don't really care. The version we have says when the D8 is higher than the D6. I don't really, like, whatever. It's fine. We're just going to do it the way that it's written in the version we have. So. But Brendan rules! Oh, sorry. If we're playing wrong, it's because I am not a games master. I am a Garms Meister, and you can take it up with the Garms Meister Association of America. All right. So that is a 7. Excellent. Okay, so you can run right after the sled, and this is your you're tall, right? You've got long legs that carry you enormous distances, and you are running harder than you've ever run before. Somehow you are closing in on this sled. I think the bad news of it, I'm trying to think of something better than this, but what immediately comes to my mind is, like, do you wear boots? I want to say no. Yeah, like, your feet are going to be shredded, right? I don't fucking care, man. No, and which is awesome. But it absolutely is, like, we get the shot of, like, Sha-Sheena's bloody footprints being left in a trail across the plain. I mean, I'm going to say it does some damage. It's just your feet. But more importantly, I'm going to, like, it's a big deal, right? There's going to be no standing for you for a while, right? Like, as you try to pull up on this sled. So it's just 1d4 damage on your feet. I have ideas for that. Time to be carried. So that's 2 points of damage. Okay. But that does mean, though, you catch right up to it. They were not expecting this in the slightest. And, like, with one bounding leap, you can jump up and hook yourself onto the sled as it's fleeing. And like, they have no idea you're there, right? There's no way in hell they were expecting this to happen. By the way, you also do still have a spear in your side. Did you ever pull that out? No. Of course not.
Why would you pull a spear out of her side? Come on.
Yay, first aid.
It's coming with me.
All right, so Graves, you've been on top of the sled. They swarmed on top of you, right? And I imagine that in the interim, right, they've been pounding at you. You've been pounding at them. You haven't been able to bring your halberd to bear because they're just right on top of you. This has been a nasty, like, slogging fist fight. You're wearing armor, so I don't imagine you've been getting too badly hurt. But at the same time, there's so many of them, and you can barely move. So at the same time that Sha-Sheena is bounding up and leaping onto the back of the sled, what do you do, Graves?
I'm trying to get them off me and hopefully get some of them kicked over the side.
Okay.
Trying to thin the herd so I can actually start stabbing things.
So this actually sounds like this is a straight-up hack and slash. Because this is you hitting them as they're hitting you.
Dice. Why? Seriously.
Oh, poor Graves.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead and take an
Is it
experience
something
point.
that would even help with help, or?
Yeah, I've got a 6.
Oh.
Well, Sha-Sheena literally just got on top of
Yes.
the sled, and she's about the only one who could help.
I want to help. I want to help.
How would you help?
Hello?
I'm.
Go ahead. No, do your thing.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Andromeda can open a portal. That's right. I forgot about that.
I got portal powers. I got gravity powers. I got all kinds of shit I can do.
So, Sha-Sheena, how would you help Graves?
Well, so all the ones that are piling on her, and I'm holding on with my sword, and so I'm not free. I'd still like to lean forward and bite one on, like, the ankle.
We were literally an ankle biter.
At least I didn't pull out the spear and stab them. I thought about it.
Go ahead and roll plus bonds with Graves.
Graves! I will help you! Yes! 7, 8.
Excellent. Okay, so Graves, that should bring you up to a 7, and Sha-Sheena, that means you are exposed to danger, retribution, or cost. Graves, you deal your damage to the enemy, and the enemy makes an attack against you. So would you like to go ahead and roll your damage against them?
It's a 10.
Oof. Wow, that's gross. Well, wait, oh, holy shit. Wait, so this is not, you can't bring your halberd to bear, really, right? Like, you're in close quarters with them. But, yeah, you're throwing them off the sled and shit.
Bite them.
I buy that. All right, but there are like 5 of them.
Yep.
So what you're going to do, Graves, is you're going to roll 5d6. You're going to take the highest single d6. Okay. And you're going to add 6 to that.
Okay.
Because it's normally +2, and then +1 for each additional orc. So it should be 6 + 6, 12 total, right?
Got it.
All right, and then your armor can block that.
Got it.
I mean, so this is them punching you, right? This is a pitched fight. They're getting in some good hits, right? Some of them may have even pulled out knives and gotten a shank in or two. But you chuck 2 of them off the side, and one of them, the neck just snapped, right? So 3 of them are totally dead. There are 2 remaining. One of them got bitten on the ankle by Sha-Sheena, and is, like, the cost of retribution for that one is, yeah.
Orc blood? Taste of orc blood?
The taste of orc blood in your mouth. Sha-Sheena is never the same ever after. Yeah, Sha-Sheena, I'm trying to think of a good cost here, besides he just stomps on your face. But I feel like that might be it, right? Like, you just bit his leg, and you might just break a tooth. Oh God, your poor face. Sha-Sheena's poor face. But yeah, I mean, now the 2 of them, one of them is going to stay on Graves. The other one turns to Sha-Sheena. Partly for the sake of time, and partly because these guys, according to the notes listed here, have 3 hit points. I do not imagine this going in their favor. So what I want to know very quickly, just to try and wrap it up here, is how do the 2 of you dispatch the final 2 orcs?
Oh dear God.
I'm very afraid. I think she already has an idea, and I'm very afraid of it.
She's laughing evilly. It can't be good.
That was my
Invoke your chaos.
So Sha-Sheena spits out the broken tooth and climbs up on top of the sled. Slugs the one engaging with her in the face, so he falls backwards. She jumps on him, straddling him, facing towards his feet, pulls the spear from her side, and begins carving out his kneecaps while he's screaming. She's just going to let him bleed to death.
Oh my god. Graves, tell me you dispatch yours with much greater mercy than that, please.
Yeah, I was just gonna cut his throat.
What's wrong with you?
Perfect in the kneecaps.
With blood and tendons snapping, and I kind of look up. Really? That was it? They tried to kill you.
It's this great sequence in the comic too, right? We flip between the two of them doing awesome things, and we get to like what should be the last panel of Sha-Sheena doing something. Then we cut to the panel of Andromeda slitting his throat. Then we cut back to the panel of Sha-Sheena doing something, and then Graves' face, and then back.
Be still! I'm not done yet.
But the good news is you've now completely depopulated this war sled, and you can then guide it back to your fellows, a war sled with boars, who you clearly should not eat because it's a war sled with boars. Come on, don't eat the boars. All right.
Well, he disabled one sled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can eat those boars.
That's true. That's right. You flipped the one sled. I forgot that one. Yes, you did. You could try. They were desperately trying to right that sled and get it set up. I think they may have just leapt onto the lead sled when it left. Yeah, so I think you do have that sled if you want to eat those boars. And no eating orc. It's bad for you. All right. I'd like to close the session out there, and let's do the end of session moves quickly. So, when you reach the end of a session, choose one of your bonds that you feel is resolved, completely explored, no longer relevant or otherwise. Ask the player of the character you have the bond with if they agree. If they do, mark experience and write a new bond with whomever you wish. Graves, do you have a bond you'd like to resolve?
I really don't think I do.
Okay. Andromeda, do you have a bond you'd like to resolve?
I do not.
All right. Aliana.
Got nothing.
Okay. Sha-Sheena.
I'm going to resolve my bond with Andromeda.
Which is?
Well, originally it was we bond over travel because everyone's looking for something. But I'm realizing now we don't have that much in common because I can't make a purple duplicate of myself.
Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah.
I buy that.
Totally.
I will think on a new one.
Okay, and you get an experience point for that. Valeria, did you have one you wanted to resolve?
No.
Okay. And Andrea, did you want to resolve your one with Sha-Sheena?
Yeah, I don't know what I wanted to say yet, but it has to sort of encapsulate like the horror
of watching her dig out the kneecaps.
What are you talking about? I'll give you one.
I admire Sha-Sheena's bravery and see her as an equal, but
not so much. Not so much
anymore.
I buy that. Do you buy that, Sarah?
I'm disappointed, but I buy it. And I am still going to totally offer you a kneecap.
You get an experience point and a kneecap. All right. Once bonds have been updated, look at your alignment. If you've fulfilled that alignment at least once this session, mark experience. Valeria, what is your alignment?
I am neutral, so I believe I'm supposed to defeat a worthy foe and defeat a worthy opponent, and I did exactly that.
You totally did that thing. So you would get experience. Sha-Sheena, what is your alignment?
Chaotic.
What is chaotic?
Eschew a convention of the civilized world. I think it's obvious I did that.
Oh my god. You get an experience point for cutting out kneecaps.
Yeah, that's gaming.
Yeah, take that back to John Wick. Aliana, what is your alignment?
Good else. I did in fact do that.
Okay.
Can you hear
Get an experience point.
me?
Yeah, that was to use your magic to help somebody else, right?
Yes.
Yes, your music, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's totally. Experience point for you. Andromeda.
So my drive is Rube Goldberg, set up and trigger a crazy chain of events. I mean, I don't think we resolved, but I think it counts, triggering a crazy chain. I mean, like, if getting a piece of an elder god in my necklace, which is now diffused to me is not a crazy chain of events, I don't know what is.
I buy it. All right, so you get an experience point. And Graves, what is your alignment?
Graves is good. Endanger yourself to protect someone weaker than you. Which I kind of did, because Sha-Sheena was being dragged along haphazardly.
I take offense to that.
In that moment,
I take offense.
All right. So you take an experience point for that, Graves. And the final 3 questions, answer as a group. Did we learn something new and important about the world?
There are elder gods with tentacles that can come through the cracks in the world.
I don't know if that's that important. That doesn't seem important to me.
Kneecaps are removable.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, no.
We all learned a valuable lesson about war sleds.
Yes. I buy that one. You both learned a valuable lesson about elder gods and about war sleds. So everybody gets an experience point. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy?
I
Yes.
think so.
Okay.
Big dude with creepy sword.
I buy that. Everybody gets an experience point. Did we loot a memorable treasure?
Creepy
I'm
sword.
going to say yes. We've got the creepy sword.
All right. Everybody gets an experience point. And so that should be it. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you, everybody, for playing. We'll see if you can actually resolve this. But now with only 2 gnomes dead, you might just decide to go home. Or, sorry, with only 2 gnomes left alive, right? You're going to get to the poor town of Technomica, and they're all going to be dead from orc spears because you just didn't get there in time. Oh, so sad. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for playing. Thank you, Willow, for coming on as our guest star. Valeria was awesome, and the legends of Valeria shall live on forever. And thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Misha. Thank you, Sarah. I had a good time. I hope everybody had a good time.
Thank you for running and, messing with us, as always.
Yeah, maybe we won't suck in 2 weeks.
You ask too much. All right, so yeah, on that note, please tune in 2 weeks because we will be playing again, and then Willow will be taking the reins and pouring horrors upon us. Yes. I think that's part of this, right? We really need that thing where the guest player gets to be like, and now I get to dish out what I just received. So Valeria did awesome, so really you should give us kittens and teddy bears.
Or love interests work.
That'll work. All right,
Although
so
that hasn't really worked out well for us before.
Yeah.
that meteor necklace. If you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe to more Indie Plus videos. You can do that by clicking the subscribe button down in that corner. As we said at the very beginning, this is the 8th episode of Chain World, so there are 7 more episodes for you to watch of Crazy Mad Shenanigans. And if you tune in 2 weeks, we will have the 9th episode where Willow will take over running. Thank you so much, everybody, for playing, and have a good night.